evening, everybody. We've got a big one for you tonight at Hinkle Fieldhouse. The Butler Bulldogs taking on the 12th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers at Hinkle Fieldhouse. I'm Matt Schumacher alongside the former Butler Bulldog, Sydney Buck. And Sydney, if Butler is to beat Indiana, which perhaps has its most talented team in the last decade, what do they have to do tonight?
You know, I think they'll really have to focus on attacking Indiana's defense and sharing the ball, making the extra passes. And they'll have to be really disciplined on defense and try to disrupt IU's really potent offense.
Butler at 6-2, undefeated at home, and this is easily going to be the toughest team that they will face in the non-conference slate. For Indiana, they come in at 8-1. Their lone loss to the second-ranked Baylor Bears. Our referees tonight, Joseph Vasili, Brian Enterline, and Tierra Cruz. And the Hoosiers control the tip. Butler in the all-white, Indiana in the classic Hoosier red. Great crowd on hand tonight in Indianapolis. And our first look tonight at Genesis Parker, who is in her first season on the floor for the Butler Bulldogs, playing at her third Division I school, has found a home under head coach Kurt Godlewski. Spolier with 10 to shoot. Parker. Shot clock did not reset, and Parker finds the bottom of the bucket as time expires.
Great finish by Parker. Butler's really going to need her to do some scoring tonight.
You know, you look at this Indiana team, and head coach Terry Morin, who's in her 6th season, feels like this is the deepest team she has had. How does Butler defend not only a team that is bigger and deeper, but also has so many shooters?
Yeah, you know, it's tough. Butler's defense is really disruptive. They really force a lot of turnovers, and they're averaging several steals a game. So I think they're going to really get deflections and get their hands on some balls. First
three-point shot of the contest goes down for Grace Berger, the sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky, who leads Indiana with nearly 15 points per game. Inside to Spolier, rolling to the bucket, and an easy 2 for the senior.
I like that, getting Spolier involved early. They're going to need her to score a lot tonight as well.
Berger driving, extra pass. There's that size of Indiana. Brenna Wise winning it back for the Hoosiers.
You know, I think Butler will take Pat Berg taking that 3 for most of the game, only shooting 30% on the year. She's one that I think they'll let shoot, and they'll have to get on the other girls.
Pat Berg running out of time to get it in, and it's deflected away by Torre.
That's 2 steals already for Butler. That's their game.
Butler is 1-6 all time against Indiana. Their lone win came almost 7 years ago to the day, December 9th, 2012. Taking down the Hoosiers at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Wise corrals, and now here comes Indiana. Jalen Penn. Now Shea Bride defending Berger, and she's whistled for the walk. I'll tell you what, early on, Indiana seems a little bit flustered here.
They do. This Butler defense is pretty tough to play against. I'm sure IU hasn't played anyone that's this active on defense.
Kurt Godlewski on your screen right now, Butler head coach. Led this program to the best season in recent memory a year ago. Said that defense would be the key, as it typically is for Butler teams. That one is swatted out of play by Alexa Gouldbet. Butler will retain possession with 10 on the timer.
Yeah, about a year ago, Coach G kind of revamped the defense, and the girls have really bought into it, and they've had success.
Strong baseline. 4 to shoot. and a travel against Umu Torre. Terry Morin in her 6th season at Indiana, as we talked about, feels like this is the deepest team she's had. Took them to the NCAA tournament last year, which included a win over a top 25 Texas Longhorns team in the first round. They eventually fell to Oregon. But this is a high-powered Indiana team, and they get a 3-point bucket there from Jalen Penn. Indiana, the highest-ranked Big Ten program at this point in the season. Parker heaves and hits from up top.
Parker has been on fire this year from 3. You can't go under those screens on her because she will knock that down.
Butler on top early, 7-6. Wise knocked out of play. It'll stay with Indiana as a pair of substitutions come in. Here's another look at that Parker 3.
Yeah, IU just went under that screen, and Genesis just pulled it back behind the screen and let it fly.
Berger, baseline pull-up, too strong. Rebound, Kristen Spolier.
Butler's doing a great job of forcing IU to go the baseline, and then they're bringing that help, and those are tough shots in the corner there.
Genesis Parker runs the point for the Dogs. Parker whistled for the walk.
Yeah, I'd like to see her just shoot that ball right there. She had the space.
Began her career at Virginia Tech. Left after 1 season. Was at Cincinnati. And now at Butler University, her 3rd school in the last 3 seasons. Kurt Godlewski feels like her skill set just fits here at Butler. Brenna Wise, the off-balance 3.
Yeah, IU can really hit the 3. Butler's going to have to really contain that.
First lead of the night for Indiana, and it comes at the 5-minute mark in the first quarter. Parker. Fly. Torre driving, pops in the lane. Couldn't get the friendly bounce.
Butler's getting a lot of hands on these balls right now.
Stifling defense from India Fly.
Fly is a fantastic defender.
And she has just been whistled for the foul. What do you think about that one?
That's a tough call. That looked like pretty good defense, and I saw the extension of the arm there.
Well, if this start is any indication of what's to come, we are in for a fantastic contest tonight from Hinkle Fieldhouse. We'll step aside. You are watching the Butler Sports YouTube channel, live from Hinkle Fieldhouse.
South baseline in section 101. Fans, be sure to check out VisionWorks, the official eye care partner of Butler Athletics.
Back at Hinkle Fieldhouse, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. 12th ranked Indiana Hoosiers holding on to a 2-point lead over the Butler Bulldogs, 9-7. And Sydney, 6 of Indiana's 9 points have come off turnovers so far in this contest.
Yeah, and Indiana's shooting 3 of 4 from 3 right now, so that's really keeping them in the game.
That is the 4th Indiana turnover, and conversely, Butler has only managed 2 points off of those 4 turnovers.
Yeah, and that's what Butler does. They really force teams into making mistakes. Now I'd like to see them convert those on the offensive end.
Nida Caceres checking in for the Bulldogs, wearing number 10 on the left wing right now. Parker driving. Tough shot with the left, got her own miss. Finally corralled by Mackenzie Holmes. Berger pops. And into the hands of Kristen Spolier.
Butler is doing a great job of getting rebounds on these missed shots. IU is a pretty tough rebounding team, so that's a good sign.
Fly, long 2, rattles home.
I like that shot a lot from Fly. She'll have to be aggressive offensively. She kind of does it all for this Butler team.
And another transfer, handful of those on Kurt Godlewski's roster this year. Comes from Northwest Tech Community College. Mackenzie Holmes, a chance at the 3-piece.
Good, number 54.
Tough to defend that. Holmes at 6'3".
Butler, number 3, India Fly, her second, team
Yeah, and that's Fly's second foul. That's going to hurt the Dogs a little bit.
And for your Bulldogs, Ube Atuso replacing Fly. At the line, shooting 1 for the Hoosiers, Mackenzie Holmes.
And Holmes is a freshman out of Maine. She was the 2019 Maine Gatorade Player of the Year. She averaged 30 points in high school.
And you know what's funny? I was talking with Terry Morin earlier, and I asked, were you surprised that Mackenzie Holmes has transitioned so well? And she said, no, the coaching staff is not surprised, but I think our fans and people around the country are, because you just don't know necessarily what you're going to get from a player out of Maine. That's no disrespect to Maine high school basketball, but it's a smaller state and it doesn't exactly have the rich basketball tradition as, say, Indiana.
That's right. And I love how Bry just took it right at her on the other end.
And Wise whistled for the travel. Here's another look at that Bry basket.
Yeah, that's a really good finish from Shea. Got Holmes up on her toes a little bit and finished on the other side.
Parker through traffic. First look tonight at Atuso.
And look for Butler to look for Caceres in the post here. She's a big guard that can post up and finish well.
5 to shoot. Atuso for 3. Got it!
3-point basket.
That's a big shot. Butler's going to need her to make those shots today. A little zone now from the Dogs, it looks like.
Bendu Yaney has checked in for Indiana. Here she is with the ball on the baseline. Coughs it up into the hands of Atuso.
Another steal for the Dogs.
That is the 6th turnover for Indiana, a team that averages less than 13 per game. Under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. And a kick ball, it'll stay this side for Butler.
Substitutions for the Hoosiers, 33, Jordy Allen, 13.
Parker does a great job of penetrating, just makes that extra pass, and at the other shot clock, buries it.
Butler shooting 55% from the floor. IU shooting 50%. And the Hoosiers make a round of substitutions, 3 coming on, including Jalen Penn, who is whistled for the foul.
Great job with Spoiler not giving up on the play there.
Her first, team's first.
First foul of the quarter for Indiana. Spolier has 2 points so far tonight, leads Butler, and is one of the top scorers in the country right now at 18.5 per game. Has really embraced becoming the go-to scorer for Butler after they graduated 3 legends.
She poured in 37 points against Detroit Mercy earlier this year. That's one of the highest scoring Butler women's player, I think, in history.
Going to line for your Bulldogs to shoot 2.
And this is another thing that she's done really well so far this season, drawing fouls.
Yeah, she gets the free throw line and can hit her free throws really well.
She has attempted 62 foul shots already this season in just 8 games played.
And Butler leads the Big East right now in free throws made and attempted. So that's a really big part of their game.
Coach Godleski told us, you know, that's probably the biggest difference for Kristen Spolier this year. She's had to adapt with that denial defense that she's seen, doing a really good job of drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line.
Yes, putting a lot of pressure on the defense, which will open up her jump shot as well.
So Butler with a 4-point lead, just over 1 minute to play in the first quarter. And how about that, another turnover for Indiana.
Yeah, another traveling turnover for IU. I think Butler's pressure is just getting to him a little bit, speeding him up.
7th Hoosier turnover, and now some pressure in the half court. Atuso gives it up to Strong. Spolier with space. And the rebound hauled in by Jory Allen. Open 3 for Penn. And into the hands of Genesis Parker. Butler on a 7-0 run. Caceres denied, and into the hands of Allen. 3-on-3, and she pulls it back.
Butler really needs a stop here.
About a 3-second differential between game and shot clock. And a timeout called by Terry Mooring after Pat Berg picked up the dribble. We will stay here. Butler hanging on to a 4-point lead. What's impressed you most about the Dogs here in the first quarter?
It's definitely got to be their defense. IU typically doesn't turn the ball over like this, but Butler's forced 7 turnovers now in the first quarter. So that's pretty incredible. And again, they'll need to start converting those into points. They have 7 points off turnovers now, so that's something to look for.
Well, to your point, Indiana averaging right around 12.5 turnovers per game. That's good for top 20 in the country. And it's not as though the Hoosiers have played a cupcake schedule either. They played a second-ranked Baylor team, a 5th-ranked South Carolina, a very good Florida, and they also took down number 21 Miami earlier last week. But it's this Butler team that's perhaps giving them their toughest test, at least early tonight in Hinkle Fieldhouse. Ball on the floor, jump ball, and it goes to the Dogs, who will get a chance to close the quarter with the last look offensively.
Kristen Spolier in for Ken Strong for Butler, in for the Hoosiers, number 1. Hickey replacing Pat.
Getting Spolier back in the game for some scoring. Let's see what they have here.
5 seconds. Parker kicks out to Spolier. Leaves it short, and that is how we will end the first quarter. But Butler on top, 16-12, forcing 7 Indiana turnovers. We'll be back with the second quarter on the Butler Sports YouTube channel after this.
the Bulldog Dance Squad. Now make some noise as the cheerleaders hit the stands with mini basketballs, courtesy of PNC Bank. Butler University would like to welcome some special guests from the Indiana Fever. New head coach Marianne Stanley and President Dr. Allison Barber. We're excited to have the Indiana Fever at home in Hinkle Fieldhouse this summer. Let's have a great round of applause for head coach Marianne Stanley, President Dr. Allison Barber from the Indiana Fever.
Back at Hinkle Fieldhouse for the start of the second quarter. Butler with a 4-point lead over the 12th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers, who have just brought in Chanel Wilson to run the point. Her first minutes of the contest. Matt Schumacher, Sydney Buck with you, the former Butler Bulldog. Couldn't ask for much better of a start from Kurt Godlewski's side, don't you think?
Yeah, this is exactly what they want. Really good start against a really good IU team.
5 to shoot. Golbey backing down, draws a foul.
Fouls on Butler, number 24, Kristen Spolier.
That is the first tonight on Kristen Spolier. And it is of the shooting variety, so Golbey will head to the free throw line. Golbey is 72% free throw shooter. If there's one thing you'd like to see Butler do in this second quarter, what would it be?
I think maybe try to get to the paint more and get those kick-out threes. They were doing a pretty good job early on in the first quarter, but then they kind of seemed to get away from it towards the end.
Butler 2 for 4 from downtown in that first quarter. Shea Bry into Spolier, out to Torre, left it long.
That's a great job of Butler getting into the paint and kicking it out for a three-point attempt.
Wise driving inside to Golbey. On her miss, bodies on the deck, and Atuso wins it back for the Dogs.
Love the hustle. That's been a statement of this Butler team, especially on the defensive end. They are very gritty.
And the crowd has been behind them 100% to start. Atuso. And Bry gets it back for Butler, a second opportunity.
That's a big part of Bry's game. She just does the little things to win. She'll take a charge, hustle, get that offensive rebound, and get Butler extra possessions.
Fly. Torre. Spolier has to put up a shot. Long three, and it's off the mark, but Fly does her best to corral a rebound and instead draws a foul. How about the effort?
Yeah, Fly's one of those players that just seems to be in the right place at the right time. She has a really great nose for the ball. She just sees this come off the rim and goes after it and draws a foul.
Spolier with the left. Tough finish there, and it rolls off the rim.
I like that straight line drive, though. She normally finishes those.
Wilson tees up a triple.
3-point basket for Wilson.
Tied at 16. Fly deflected by Wise. Under 10 to shoot for Butler. Atuso, Spolier, floater, no. And again, another offensive rebound, the second for Fly.
Yeah, in a game like this, these extra possessions are going to matter.
Can Butler take advantage? Fly with 4 instead travels, and it goes back to the Hoosiers.
Substitution for the Hoosiers, 54, Mackenzie Holmes. Replacing number 10.
Have you seen anything different from Indiana to start the second quarter?
It seems like they're really trying to get the ball in the paint into their post players and draw fouls, trying to be really aggressive.
Catherine Strong checks in for Butler, perhaps to combat some of that post thinking for Indiana.
Yeah, both of these teams are really deep, so we're definitely going to see a lot of substitutions tonight.
Penn walled off by Spolier. Wise baseline and draws the foul. Chance at the end one.
Yeah, Cat Strong just a little late on the help there. Butler likes to force things baseline, and usually there's the help there, but that time just a tad late.
Should go to the line, shoot 1. Butler foul on number 22, Cat Strong, her first.
That is Cat Strong's first. Wise missing. Holmes, second chance.
Mackenzie Holmes.
4-point swing for Indiana. Indiana on an 8-0 run. Butler has not scored in the second quarter.
Yeah, they seem to be doing a lot of dribbling this quarter.
Strong backing in, reverse, and a much needed bucket.
And that is Cat Strong's game. She loves that turnaround jumper in the mid post.
Her first points tonight. Wise, long 2.
Wise.
That was a tough situation for Butler. You have Mackenzie Holmes posting, and Shea needed to be in there to help a little bit, but gave up the elbow jumper.
Inside to Strong again. Defended by the freshman Holmes. Almost coughed it up and does. Wise getting into the cookie jar, and here comes Indiana. And Wise throws it away.
Butler basketball.
Been a rapid pace in this first half.
For the Hoosiers substitution, Jory Allen and Patberg back in, replacing 11, Wilson. 12 to number 50, Wise.
Jory Allen and Allie Patberg check in for Indiana. 5.5 to play in the first half.
I really like how Butler's focusing on playing through the post right now.
Penn launches a 3. Strong fighting with Holmes. Jump ball, it'll stay with Indiana.
Butler basketball.
Check that, it goes back to Butler rather. Who have been outscored so far in this second quarter, 10-2. Parker defended by Patberg. Spolier picked. And now Atuso wins it back for Butler.
That was a really big defensive play. IU really had a breakaway layup.
Inside to Strong, met by pressure, leaves it off the mark. But it stays with the Dogs. Which brings us to our second quarter media timeout. We'll step aside for a moment. Indiana on top by 4 in Hinkle Fieldhouse. terrific early season test for the Butler Bulldogs, who lost their top 3 scorers, or rather 3 of their top 4 scorers from a year ago, and 3 legends in the Butler program, but playing tough against a top 15 Indiana team. Down 4 coming out of the media timeout. Would love to get a bucket here. They've only scored 2 points so far in the second quarter.
Yeah, shooting 1 of 8 from the field. They're getting some decent shots. They just can't knock them in.
Caceres, another offensive board. That's at least the 3rd in the last 6 minutes.
Let's see if they can capitalize here.
Parker picks up her dribble. Caceres really close to half court. 5 to shoot. Atuso heaves a 3. And Spoyer, a 3rd chance, can't convert. And into the hands of Berger. If you're going to beat Indiana, those are the ones you have to have for Butler.
Definitely.
And it leads to a coast-to-coast bucket for Grace Berger, and a quick timeout taken by Kurt Godlewski. It might be as simple as Butler just finishing, but what has to change here in these last 3.5 minutes?
I mean, that's a lot of it, is just finishing and hitting shots. They're getting a lot of good extra possessions on those offensive rebounding. And IU's a really good defensive rebounding team, so that's a really good sign. You just have to make those bunnies inside.
9 offensive rebounds for Butler. I mean, that's insane against a very, very good IU team that actually has quite an advantage in terms of height in the low block. It's a testament to Butler's grit so far here in the first half. But to your point, they gotta convert a few more to stay in this thing. Down a couple of possessions here. And the scoring drought nearing 3 minutes for the Dogs. Atuso driving and picked up that pivot foot. Whistled for the walk.
And to IU's credit, they're doing a really good job of keeping the Dogs out of the paint, which makes it really hard to score. So these are tough shots, but again, some of those bunnies off of offensive rebounds just have to go in.
IU, 5 of their last 6. Ten on the timer. Patberg defended by Atuso. Kick out to Berger. Extra pass. Wise couldn't get it off in time. Great defense by the Dogs.
Great defensive possession. Hands up, contesting shots, making IU make some extra passes.
Substitution.
12 turnovers in the first half. That matches the season average for Indiana. We knew Butler's defense would have to show up to make this a competitive game. They're in it. Now they needed a couple of positive offensive possessions. Atuso, a 3. And a foul on the floor. Goes against Indiana.
Fouls on Indiana, number 14.
Tell you what, the way the Butler has crashed the boards in this first half, you would think they could compete with anybody in the country.
Yeah, it's a very encouraging sign.
Atuso, Caceres.
Butler just cannot get into the paint right now.
Parker heaves. And Butler tying up on the low block. It goes to Indiana. Okay, so getting the ball in the paint has been a struggle. How do they do that?
It's tough. You just got to keep attacking, and if you can't get it off the dribble, I think you got to play through the post more. Get Caceres maybe posting up a smaller guard in there, and if she has a one-on-one move, take the shot, but if not, try to kick it out.
Butler 0 for their last 7 on the offensive side. 4.5 minute scoring drought, under 2 to play in the first half. Berger defended by Torre. Goulbe travel.
Steps on the Hoosiers Butler ball.
You know, Butler's forced 13 turnovers this game, but only 7 points off those. So again, their defense is really keeping them in this game.
Need a bucket, you feel, in this offensive sequence. Will they get it from this woman? The leading scorer, Kristen Spolier. Parker driving. And Torre, offensive foul.
Just a little out of control there on the drive.
Fouls on Butler, number 2, Genesis.
And actually, it was an off-the-ball foul on Genesis Parker, her first. Ball back to Indiana with 90 seconds. Beautiful backdoor cut. Jalen Penn will head to the line for 2.
That's IU just attacking Butler's aggressive defense there. That was a quick hitter call.
First team scored. Shooting 2 for the Hoosiers will be number 13, Penn.
Jalen Penn, second team All Big Ten a year ago. Has been on fire as of late, averaging right around 14 points per game in the last 3. Knocks down the second. Butler trails by 7. Fly. Caceres. Beautiful hesitation. Caceres lost the handle. Shot clock did not reset. Parker heaves off the mark. And here comes Jalen Penn. And another tie-up. Butler basketball.
Alternate possession, Butler basketball.
Boy, this second quarter has been almost night and day compared to the first. Very sloppy, really on both sides. Just that Indiana has capitalized on a few more opportunities around the rim.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Fly, Spolier, Torre battling in the low block. Elite defense by Indiana in this second quarter.
Yeah, it seems like every possession, the shot clock's going down to 5, 4, 3 seconds, and then Butler has to take a tough shot.
That is her first, team's third substitution for Indiana. Yaney in, replacing 34 Berger.
Butler has converted just 1 field goal in this quarter. Shot clock turned off. Torre baseline, won't get a chance. Fly whistled for the charge.
Fouls on Butler, number 3, India Fly.
And that is her third.
Team's fifth. 34 Berger back in, replacing Yaney for the Hoosiers. Atuso in for your Bulldogs, replacing Fly.
So now Indiana will have a chance for the final shot of the first half. Gotta go quickly here. Penn driving on Spolier, pull up, got it.
Bucket's good for number 13, Jalen Penn. At halftime,
And
Butler
Indiana
18,
takes a 27-18 lead into the halftime locker room. Sydney and I will be back with more later on at halftime.
Hey fans, it's time for tonight's Hoosier Lottery Lucky Section. We are looking for one special section to receive a prize package courtesy of the Hoosier Lottery. Let's take a look at the video board and see who our winner will be. Looks like our winner is in section 119. Congratulations to section 119, tonight's Hoosier Lottery Lucky Section. You must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Now please welcome the Butler cheerleaders to the court for a special halftime performance. Your Butler cheerleaders.
Live look at head coach Kurt Godlewski. Coming out of the halftime break, his team scored just 2 points in that second quarter. Sydney Buck, what adjustments need to be made early here to start the second half?
Butler's really going to have to start the second half well, get a couple quick buckets on these possessions and continue getting stops. You know, I think at halftime, Coach G should have just told them, like, hey, you can play with this team. Stop playing so tight on offense. You're doing your thing defensively. Like, you can play with these girls.
Yeah, I mean, certainly to your point, you look at how Butler defended Indiana. There were stretches where IU was going 2 and 3 minutes without a bucket. They turned it over 13 times in the first half. It's a team that only averages 12.5 turnovers for a full 40 minutes. Conversely, Butler was 1 for 15 shooting in that second quarter, and off air we were talking and you felt like Butler needed to play through the post a bit more. How in the second half do they do that?
Yeah, I think you got to get Kat Strong and Shea Bry maybe posting more and playing through them. If they have a one-on-one opportunity, they're able to finish. You know, Kat's really good at that turnaround jumper. So if you can just start getting points in the paint, it should kind of lighten up IU's defense a little bit and open up other, you know, three-pointers and pull-up jumpers.
Butler shot 46% in the first quarter, 6.7% from the field in the second quarter. Can't get much worse than that, and yet here they are down 3 possessions. So the opportunity is still there for Butler to make this a game. If you're IU head coach Terry Morin, got to wonder what adjustments she and the Hoosiers will make coming out of the halftime break against a Butler defense that has been stout this season. Right away, Grace Berger to the cup and draws a foul. She heads straight to the free throw line.
Butler, number 22.
Seems like IU's coming out and really just focusing on getting into the paint. You know, that first possession didn't settle for a jumper, went straight to the rack.
Will be 34, Grace Berger.
Butler has not yet lost at home this season. 5-0 at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Getting a really good test tonight from a 12th ranked Indiana team before conference play. You know the Big East Women's Conference will be tough this year. Spolier finally gets one to go down, and that might be the spark Butler needs.
I like that, playing right through Spolier, getting the ball to her in the post, and she was able to finish. She got some of those looks in that second quarter, but just couldn't put them in.
Goulbay blocked away and into the hands of Shea Bry. Parker driving. Inside to Kat Strong, left it short. Patberg pushing the pace. Berger had it knocked away. Been a physically played game. And that's picked off by Penn.
Out of bounds, IU basketball.
Yeah, definitely can't have wasted possessions like that.
Substitution for Butler entering number
Kristen Spolier, who's averaging nearly 19 points per game. 2 for 9 from the floor with 6 points. A lot of those shots came late in the clock and were also contested.
Yeah, IU's been doing a really good job on her. Knowing the scouting report, knowing she likes to drive and really bringing help and cutting her off.
Here's Patberg. And got the friendly bounce.
Patberg's first points of the game. Really physical inside there.
And Grace Berger will be whistled for the foul.
number 34, Grace Berger, her second.
That's her second of the match. Parker looking for someone to get it into. Torre. 11-point lead for Indiana. This is a dangerous position right now for Butler.
Yeah, this is a very crucial possession. If this gets to 13, that's kind of a tipping point where it could get a little bit out of hand.
Penn to Patberg, 5 to shoot. Patberg going baseline. Extra pass to Berger. And now here comes Parker on the break. 3-on-2. Spolier with space. It's been that kind of night for Butler.
Butler can get some of those transition looks if they run after these turnovers, but you just got to convert.
And it's now a 13-point lead. Butler 0 for its last 4. And 1 for its last 20. Spolier driving with the left and got a chance at the end one.
Very strong finish. That's her game.
That was on the Hoosiers, number 10, Alexa Goulbe.
Just got into the paint, got into the girl's body, and was able to finish.
Number 54, Mackenzie Holmes,
flipping it up over the rim and down for 2. Has a chance to get it back to 10. Bendu Yaney checking in for Indiana. Saw her sparingly in the first half. Her first minutes of 2019 after tearing, or rupturing rather, her Achilles in the NCAA tournament last spring.
Butler coming out with a little pressure now.
Patberg calling for it.
I like that call by Coach G. Get the shot clock down a little bit and force IU into a tough shot.
Penn doubled and dribbles it out of bounds. Great defense from Butler, who has just forced the 15th turnover of the night for Indiana.
Yeah, I think that was a big possession. You know, Butler got it back within 10, and if they can score here, get it down to single digits again.
Atuso, travel.
Traveling violation, Indiana basketball.
Butler now with 11 turnovers. Yaney dumps it down to Holmes. Easy finish for the freshman from Maine.
Yeah, in this zone, Butler really needs to understand who's behind them, so we can't have those passes getting through.
Caceres defended by Penn. Here's that mismatch you were hoping for. Too heavy.
Just couldn't finish it. I like that take, though.
Patberg, Yaney. Great deflection by Shea Bry. And then Patberg trying to get into the cookie jar and instead whistled for the foul.
Yeah, that was a great defensive play from Bry there. Help came over, and she needs to drop and cover that opposite post, and she did a great job of that.
That is Patberg's second. Caceres clearing out Fly through double team. Indiana ties it up. It stays with Butler. Who have tried to get it into the post a bit more here in this second half. But again, it's come down to converting those looks. Spolier draws a foul on Yaney.
Spolier is so good at drawing those fouls when she's driving. She can really get people into foul trouble.
Indiana on top by 12. Butler trying to hang in there and hang on. fighting tough against the 12th ranked Hoosiers.
It's now time for tonight's Hot Box.
Will have to make a basket, then run down the court trying to balance 10 pizza boxes in one hand. Our winner will receive a Hot Box Pizza meal certificate. All right, Holden and Katrina, are you ready? Get set, go! Congratulations, Holden. You won a Hot Box Pizza meal certificate. Butler Athletics would like to welcome the following groups to Hinkle Fieldhouse for tonight's game. The Indiana Fever season ticket holders, Indianapolis Wildcats, and the Brownsburg 3rd and 5th grade teams. Thank you for attending tonight's game.
Back in Hinkle Fieldhouse, the 12th ranked Indiana Hoosiers on top of Butler by 12. Butler desperately needs a basket. Instead, they'll draw another foul, and that's the 3rd in this offensive sequence. And that could potentially be a pathway to get back into this game.
Definitely. Butler's struggling a little bit shooting from the field, but if they can get to the free throw line this early in the quarter, that'll be a good catalyst.
Yaney now has 3. And Bry heads to the line. Butler in the bonus the rest of the way in this 3rd quarter. Shea Bry, the 6-foot senior from Altoona, Wisconsin, knocks them both down, and now Butler gets into the full court press. They've already forced 16 Indiana turnovers so far. Yaney gets it up to Wise. And she smartly draws a foul on Nida Caceres.
That was pretty good defense by Nye. She just got her hand in there at the last minute. If she just would have stayed straight up, might have been a no call.
And now Grace Berger will check back in for Terry Morin.
13 men shooting 2 for Indiana, number 50, Brenna Wise.
Oh, Brenna Wise getting the Hinkle rim bounce.
Very friendly roll there.
The rims aren't as old as the building, but there is a little bit of nostalgia and some magic here in the Cathedral of College Hoops, and a great in-state battle. 2 teams separated by just about an hour-and-a-half drive. Bry picked by Patberg. Butler again in the danger zone, trailing by 12. Caceres picks it away. Up to Fly. Heavy. I think when Butler goes back to look at the tape, regardless of how this game turns out, it'll be shots like that right around the rim that they were unable to convert that will haunt them.
Yeah, especially against a team as good as Indiana. All those little possessions make a huge difference.
Berger with 5. Tries to thread the needle, and it goes off the foot of Wise and out of bounds.
Caceres has been using her length very well as of late. I think that's her third straight possession with a deflection.
Chanel Wilson replacing Butler.
Butler 1 for the last 7. No field goals in over 3 minutes. Caceres trying to change that. Backing down and throws it right into the hands of Brenna Wise.
Just a little too indecisive there. She had Bry open in the corner but couldn't decide where she wanted to throw it.
Berger driving. Wilson does a good job to keep it alive. Yaney off balance. Draws a foul. She'll head to the stride.
Foul on Butler, number 21.
You know, this is interesting. This might be the first lineup where Spolier and Parker aren't in the game together, and those are two of Butler's top scorers. So we'll see who can score for this lineup.
Shooting 2 for the Hoosiers, number 1,
Atuso, certainly somebody who can score. Top 15 JUCO transfer out of Labette Community College. To go down this list, and certainly Butler's gotten the majority of its scoring production from Kristen Spolier. Kat Strong has chipped in well this season, but nobody has had an answer for Butler's scoring drought so far. 5 to shoot for Indiana. And a beautiful charge drawn by India Fly. And that is the third on Grace Berger. So Indiana's starting to get into some foul trouble. It hasn't mattered to this point with a 13-point lead, but perhaps something to look out for if Butler can get this back to single digits before the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that'll be really big if they can get this to 7 or 8 points by the end of the quarter. That's a big ask, but that would definitely give them a shot in this fourth.
Parker walled off. Bry, extra pass to Torre, buries the 3.
That's exactly what you need right now. Now get a stop and get another bucket.
Butler 3 for 12 from downtown. Back to 10. Wilson out to Berger, driving baseline, knocked out of bounds. Shot clock at 8. It'll be Indiana ball. Well, they needed this one partner, and they got it.
Great job by Bry seeing the double and kicking it right out to the open shooter. And a shot like that coming from the paint, it's almost a layup.
You saw a few of those in your day here at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Penn short and into the hands of Genesis Parker. A chance to get it to single digits. And Parker stripped by Yaney. Strong following.
Yeah, that was big. Parker's just got to think next possession right now and not let that get her into a funk.
Fly draws the foul and will go to the line to shoot 2.
Fouls on Indiana, number 11, Chanel Wilson. Her second.
That's the second foul on Chanel Wilson. And India Fly heads to the line. Scored 24 points per game last year at Northwest Tech Junior College. She's at her 3rd school. Began her college career at the University of New Mexico, rather. Probably has not played in a crowd this size in her college career. Hinkle Fieldhouse is packed. The lower bowl is nearly sold out.
Butler back with a little pressure here, trying to speed Indiana up, get some turnovers.
Deflected into the hands of Penn, long two, and into the hands of Genesis Parker, who wants to push.
That's a shot you want to force, and great attack by Parker right there, drawing the foul. Couple big free throws coming up.
Fouls on the Hoosiers, number 13, Jalen Penn, her second.
That's the second on Penn, and now 2 shots for Parker. Parker, another one of those transfers. Butler is her 3rd stop. And Kirk Godlewski said, you know, when they were looking at the transfer portal, back when they brought Genesis Parker to campus, she just fit. And they knew what they were going to be losing this year, and she has filled the void left by Jennings and Weaver. And he said particularly Jennings, because she's an athletic guard that can break down pressure, sort of open things up for her teammates.
Yeah, and she's definitely a scoring point guard, so fits right in. You know, Whitney was a scoring point guard as well, so just kind of stepped in and filled that void.
Fouls on Butler, number 15,
Foul against Umu Torre. That's her second. Butler has it back to 9. Jory Allen, former Miss Indiana basketball, a freshman at IU, has checked in. Morin barking out a call from the sideline. That shot was deflected into the hands of Holmes, and she draws a foul.
Foul is on Butler, 15. Umu Torre, her 3rd, team's 5th.
Umu Torre's second foul in the last 30 seconds. She has 3 now, and Holmes heads to the line. Big crowd tonight. Part of the crowd at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Season ticket holders for the Indiana Fever, who have just signed a contract to play all of their home games for the next 2 years at Hinkle Fieldhouse. And now IU gets a second chance on the tip out.
That's killer for Butler, giving IU an extra possession here at the end of this quarter.
Five to shoot. Patberg gives it up to Penn. Chucks a 3. And now Parker has to watch out with Berger behind her.
Might want to pull it back out here. 1 shot. There we go.
Butler trails by 10. Parker at the top of the key. Step back. And that is how we end the 3rd quarter. It's a 10-point lead for Indiana, the 12th ranked team in the country. They've been tested tonight. Butler tries to get over the hump when we come back from Hinkle Fieldhouse. Welcome back to Hinkle Fieldhouse. The Butler Bulldogs trying to climb their way back into this one. They trail the 12th ranked Indiana Hoosiers by 10 as we start the fourth quarter. Matt Schumacher, Sydney Buck with you. And Sydney Butler played a little bit better offensively in that third quarter. What do you have to see from them in this fourth to make this a 1 or 2 possession game?
They definitely have to string, 2 or 3 stops together in a row and then get good looks on the other end and knock them in.
Wide open shot. Allen off the mark.
And there's one stop. Now let's see if they can convert it.
Spolier sat the last 4.5 minutes of the third quarter. We didn't see her after the media timeout. Tuso walled off. Spolier steps back, long three. And Allen corrals for Indiana. Hoosiers 8-1. The only loss this season to a number 2 ranked Baylor Bears team in the Paradise Jam tournament over the Thanksgiving holiday. Goulbay rattles home.
Another friendly roll with these Hinkle rims.
You never needed that. It was just straight net all the time, right?
Yeah, right.
Caceres tries to answer no. Berger driving. Draws a foul on Shea Bry. If we're playing horse, what's your first shot? Top of the arc three?
Yeah, that or the left wing. For some reason, I seem to like that spot as well.
Grace Berger substitution for the Dogs, entering Torre, replacing Caceres.
Torre comes in for Caceres. Berger will shoot 2. Indiana on top by 12.
I feel like those last couple possessions, Butler kind of settled for those threes. You're not going to get it all back in 1 or 2 possessions. You got to kind of chip away, and I think they could have gotten some better shots there.
Berger leads all Hoosiers with 9. Parker gets it past Pat Berg. Spolier draws a foul on Allen. And the Indiana faithful, who are strong in attendance tonight, did not like that call. That's Allen's first, and the team's first of the fourth quarter. And Kurt Godlewski wants to call a timeout here early. What's the message from this huddle here?
IU's got some momentum, and this is a crucial point. Down 14, if this gets up to 16 or 17, at this point, it might be over. So I think he's just trying to calm the girls down a little bit and maybe draw something up to get a good look.
I think, and we talked about this off air before coming back in the fourth quarter, I think no matter what happens in this game, if Butler can somehow mount to come back and come away with what would probably be the biggest upset in women's basketball to this point of the 2019-2020 season, no matter what happens, they'll look back and say, we had so many chances to command this game. And, there are no moral victories, but we're seeing some positive signs from a team that is missing a lot of pieces from last year.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging. I hope it gives the girls some confidence going into the rest of the year that they can play with these really good teams that are in the top 15.
Yeah.
And I do think there's a lot to learn from this. Defensively, they're still very solid, but you got to figure some things out on the offensive end.
Butler in the midst of a 5-game homestand that goes all the way until January 4th when they head to Xavier. So if you're watching this at home and want to get out to some Hinkle home games, plenty of chances before the new year. They will take on High Point and Purdue Fort Wayne to close out the non-conference slate. And then they're at home on the 29th against Seton Hall, and then a New Year's Eve afternoon contest with the St. John's Red Storm, who are picked in the top half of the conference and have a lot of talent on that team. So lots of opportunity to get to Hinkle Fieldhouse and see some high-level play. Still a lot of time left in this one. Over 8 minutes. Butler trying to get it back to single digits. First, they just need a basket.
Trying to get a Spolier inside. There she goes.
And Goulbay's right there to help. Spolier pulls it out and drops in a beautiful shot.
Great shot. That was great recognition. She sees she has a big girl, Jory Allen, on her. Just kind of steps back and hit the mid-range jumper.
Late in the shot clock, Berger to the cup, and she's in double figures for Indiana. When you need a play late in the shot clock, you typically go to your upperclassmen. Berger, though, is just a sophomore, but she leads the team in scoring and has a real opportunity to be one of the best players in the Big Ten this year, on the preseason all-conference list.
Yeah, she only averaged 5.5 points coming off the bench last year, and she really worked on her game in the offseason and now became IU's leading scorer.
Matuso off the mark, fly, second chance out to Torre, and into the hands of Yaney. And that, in a nutshell, has been the story of the night for Butler. 20 turnovers for IU, 13 offensive rebounds for Butler. The chances have been there, but they've only shot 26% from the field. Spolier trying to muscle her way through and instead draws a foul on Pat Berg.
IU fans didn't like that call either.
And actually, that is on Yaney, not Patberg.
And that is Yaney's fourth foul, one of IU's top defenders. They're going to keep her in the game, though.
Surprised by that?
A little bit.
Indiana up 16, fly, travel.
Indiana basketball substitution.
And you can't have those types of unforced turnovers in a game like this, especially at this point.
And now Yaney will come out, as will Goulbay. Holmes and Wise come in. And another timeout taken by Kurt Gotlewski. We will step aside for a moment here in Hinkle Fieldhouse. You are watching the Butler Sports YouTube channel.
Your Bulldog Dance Squad. Now make some noise as the cheerleaders hit the stands with t-shirts courtesy of ButlerBulldogGear.com. Fans, we thank all of you for coming out tonight and setting a Butler women's basketball attendance record of 2,028. Thank you for your attendance. And as a reminder, the Butler basketball team will be signing autographs on the court after tonight's game.
Butler women's basketball attendance record well over 2,000. A great night at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Glad to have you with us on Butler Sports YouTube channel. Matt Schumacher, the former Butler Bulldog, Sydney Buck with you. Indiana on top of the Dogs by 16.
Fly playing some really tough defense on Patberg here.
Penn with 10. Defended by Atuso. Penn forces a shot, missed it all, and it goes back to Butler.
As we mentioned before, Butler's forced 20 turnovers and has 13 offensive rebounds. They've shot 43 times, but the issue is they're only shooting 26% from the field.
And you know, they look tight in that second quarter. They've loosened up a bit, at least to me, here in the second half, but the shots just have not fallen. And a foul on Fly sends Patberg to the deck. Indiana will get it out of bounds. It really has to be frustrating for Butler because, as you talked about, they've had the opportunities. And when they look back at this game, I would imagine, Sydney, that they probably will feel like, man, we really had a chance to upset the 12th ranked Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, definitely. Like we've been talking about, I mean, their defense has been incredible. IU's averaging 77 points a game, and they've left less than 50 with 5 minutes left. I mean, they've been holding IU really well. They just can't get anything going on offense.
And a foul on Kristen Spolier. That last miss from Genesis Parker is all you need to know.
That's her second, team's third.
And IU is playing very solid defense, but some of these bunnies Butler normally makes.
Right. As far as defense goes, can't ask for much more from Butler. They have been energetic. They've gotten into the passing lanes. They've rebounded the ball exceptionally well. Atuso in the lane, fighting through, and has a chance at the three-piece. Beautiful finish.
Very strong take here. A lot of hands in there trying to get the ball, but she just rips it right through and is able to finish through contact.
And Atuso does well to complete the three-point play. Butler sets up in the full court press. Penn walled off by Fly, and now the double team. Beautiful backdoor cut by Wise. Draws the foul on Parker.
Yeah, pretty rare defensive mistake right there from the Dogs.
Butler, number 2, Genesis Parker, her second, team's fourth. Shooting 2 for the Hoosiers, with number 50, Wise.
Indiana head coach Terry Morin making a return to Hinkle Fieldhouse. She was an assistant for the Dogs all the way back in the late 90s, was part of Butler's lone trip to the NCAA tournament. And she's really made the rounds in Indiana basketball. Played at Purdue, coached at UIndy and Indiana State before taking over at the University of Indiana, and has really turned that program around. They've been to the postseason 4 out of the last 5 years, 2 trips to the NCAA tournament. And this has not been a pretty game, but great teams find a way to win, and they will certainly be a formidable foe once Big Ten play begins.
Yeah, I believe IU is the top-ranked Big Ten team, and there are some really good teams in that conference, Michigan, Michigan State, so they've been having a really good year.
You know, it's interesting, the latest bracketology for the NCAA tournament, the way too early bracketology came out, and 11 of the 14 teams in the Big Ten were projected to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that's incredible. It is, I would say, probably the strongest conference in the country for women's basketball.
But then you look at the Big East, and you know, they lose a lot of their scoring power as a whole from last season. 7 of the top 10 scorers all graduated. That leaves the door open for some new faces to become stars. But it also probably means that we're going to see a bit more parity in this league once we get into conference play. Butler was picked in the bottom third, 7th out of 10 teams. But I know you don't feel like they'll finish that low in the conference.
Yeah, I really don't feel that way. I think they could finish, you know, 5th, 4th in the top half of the conference. You know, DePaul's always solid. Providence, Marquette are having good years. I agree that there probably will be a lot more parity this year, which will make it a fun season.
Butler coming off its first 20-win season since 2010. When Butler was back in the Horizon League, made a trip to the WNIT. Butler made it to the Sweet 16 of the WNIT a year ago. An 8-win improvement from the previous season. So lots to build on. Of course, there are new faces and new players to get acclimated to the system, but Kirk Godlewski feels like that growth is coming. And although this won't be the result they had hoped for tonight, you know, I think there's probably some things that they can take away from this performance.
Yes, definitely, especially on the offensive end. A lot of good things to show defensively, too, to encourage the girls to keep that up. But I think there is some work to be done on the offensive end.
Butler shooting under 30% from the floor tonight. And that comes after a first quarter where they shot nearly 50. And of course, you have to credit Indiana. Great defense on the Dogs tonight. Foul on the Hoosiers. That sends Parker to the line.
Foul is on the Hoosiers, number 50, Brenna Wise, her second, team's 5th. Headed to the line for your Bulldogs, number 2, Genesis Parker.
Butler led by 4 after the first quarter, 16-12.
Yeah, it was that second quarter that really changed the game. You're not going to be able to win many games, let alone against a top 15 team in the country, only scoring 2 points in a quarter.
Big win in the Big East non-con tonight. Number 16, DePaul takes down Notre Dame on the road, 105-94. That's huge for the conference.
Very big. Honestly, that doesn't really surprise me much. Notre Dame's down a little bit this year, and DePaul is always very tough. Coach Bruno is fantastic. They play really fast-paced basketball, shoot a lot of threes, so that's a really big win for the conference.
Grace Berger heads to the line for Indiana. Leads all scorers tonight. Was the first one in double figures. She has 11. And for Butler, Kristen Spolier, a quiet 13, was hounded tonight by a long, lengthy, and athletic Indiana defense.
Substitution for your Bulldogs, Kent Strong, replacing Fly.
You know, it'll be interesting next year when UConn comes into this league, because they will completely change the dynamic of this conference. Since realignment, it's really been DePaul, sometimes Marquette, and then everyone else.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. UConn will definitely change the dynamic and definitely give DePaul at least a really good challenger. They'll be tough to beat.
But it's good for the conference, don't you think?
Definitely. I think it'll raise the level of play for the entire league. As you've kind of seen that on the national stage, you know, typically UConn's always #1, and now you're kind of getting other teams in there that have really upped their play.
More national exposure, too. Everybody wants UConn on their TV. And, you know, as a former player, I would imagine having UConn in your conference would be a really enticing thing to see them twice a year.
Definitely, and especially being able to go out there and play at their place. I mean, they sell out almost every game.
That's
so
a great
playing
point.
in front of a crowd like that and getting that national exposure, I think it's a really good recruiting advantage.
Since realignment, the Big East Women's Basketball Conference in particular has just continued to get better. And
Out of bounds to the Hoosiers.
I think adding UConn, a team that Seton Hall played last week and played them very well. Having UConn in the conference will just up the league a little bit more. And certainly you would imagine UConn will give DePaul a run for its money, a team that has been in the Big East championship game many a time over the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, and there's some teams in the league like Seton Hall, St. John's, some very athletic teams that can give a team like UConn some issues. So I wouldn't say they're completely going to run away with the conference, but they'll definitely be the team to beat.
You know, St. John's gave them a game last year, too. If memory serves me correctly, the Johnnies made that a 10-point game when it was all said and done, but they were within a possession, like Butler tonight against Indiana.
Yes, they were.
A little less than 2.5 minutes to play here in Hinkle, and Genesis Parker knocks down the triple.
Yeah, they've missed that from her so far this game.
Maybe a little too late for the Dogs, who trail by 13. When you look up and down this roster, Sydney, Parker's got to be at the top in terms of somebody who can really complement Spolier in scoring this season.
Definitely. She's able to take some of the scoring load off of Spolier, so teams aren't, you know, only focused on her. And I think she does a good job of distributing a little bit when she gets double teamed or draws help. So she's definitely a key part of this Butler offense. And she's a very solid defender, giving the opposing point guards some trouble. It's interesting because her last school was Cincinnati, and that is who finished Butler's season last year in the WNIT. So they kind of poached her from there.
Well, Butler has a number of transfers on the roster. Andia Fly, Genesis Parker, Upe Atuso, of course Kat Strong, who has been with the program now for a couple of seasons but came over from VCU and is finally starting to play confidently after that knee injury against Marquette last year that ended her season. Missed the final 13 games. Coach Kodlewski feels like she's finally starting to play without thinking about that knee injury.
Yeah, for sure. Her minutes still seem to be a little limited. I don't know if that knee's still giving her little problems, but hopefully she'll be completely full go by the time conference season rolls around.
Second chance, Goulbay, beautiful tip in. It's a 15-point lead for Indiana, who will probably come away with a victory at Hinkle Fieldhouse tonight, but not without a fight from the Dogs. And another offensive rebound. Parker out to Atuso, knocks down the three.
And the offensive rebounding has been really encouraging for me as well, especially against IU, who's one of the top rebounding teams in the nation.
And Gouldbay on the response. And she's put together a really nice night for Indiana. Gouldbay, depending on how they count that bucket, 9 points, 4 boards. They are reviewing to see if that was a 3.
Game clock reset to 59.7.
And to see where the game clock was, and it was just under a minute at 59.7. 62-48 Indiana. And another one from Atuso.
That was a good look coming off the staggered screen there.
12 points for Atuso, who was a top 15 prospect out of the junior college ranks, and has brought a lot of energy, described by Kurt Godlewski as a glue player.
Yeah, she has that experience. She's also very vocal, which is what a team like Butler needs. Having that experience and being able to lead on the court and talk a lot, that's big.
And that vocal leadership is something they lost, having graduated Whitney Jennings, who is now back with the team on the staff as an assistant coach. Recent acquisition for Kurt Godlewski, so nice to have a recent former player.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see Whitney on the sidelines. Obviously, she knows the system very well, knows the girls well, knows what Coach G's trying to get out of this. So I think she'll be a really good addition this season. Very high basketball IQ too, so I think she brings a lot of value.
Plus, if they ever need an extra body in practice, you know she can lace them up.
That's very true. She's a tough matchup.
1,000-point scorer in just 2 seasons on the court at Butler. That is impressive.
Very.
Parker has put together a nice night for the Dogs. Most of her scoring has come here in the 4th quarter, but she has 13. Make it 14 now and 8 rebounds. And I think going forward, she will be a guard to watch in the Big East Conference.
Yeah, I agree. The Big East typically has some very good guard play, and I think she's definitely going to be at the top there, leading this Butler team.
You know, you look at the score tonight, and Indiana on top by 11. You might think, okay, they controlled this game from start to finish, which would not be the case. Butler actually led by 4 after the first quarter. When you consider how much Indiana has scored and how badly they have beaten teams this year, this has been a very strong outing by the Dogs. And if they had made a few more baskets here or there, we'd be talking about a 1 or 2 possession game in the final 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think Butler did a really good job of making them play their game, you know, slow, grind it out. A little bit ugly with all the turnovers, but that's the type of game that Butler needed to make this. Again, just couldn't get the scoring done when it mattered.
Indiana 13th in the country coming into tonight in scoring margin, averaging 25-point victories through 8 or 9 games this season. And they've won 8 of those 9. Only loss came to a top 5 Baylor team in that Paradise Jam Classic over the Thanksgiving holiday. This is their first time playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse since 2012, which was the only time Butler beat them. But we're starting to see sort of a coming of age for this Butler team that has a lot of new pieces. Not the result that they wanted tonight. They fall by 11 to a 12th ranked Indiana Hoosiers team. Sydney Buckland, what's your final takeaway from this performance tonight from the Dogs?
You know, I am encouraged being able to play with a team like this. crosstown rival kind of again in a really good crowd. I think they'll go back and look at the film and definitely learn some things, but I'm encouraged with the way they played defense, the way they rebounded, and the way they forced all those turnovers.
For Indiana, they improved to 9-1. Butler falls to 6-3, and we'll have 2 more non-conference tests before the real fun begins in the Big East Conference. Seton Hall and St. John's will come to Butler first at the end of December to start conference play. And for the Hoosiers, led by former Butler assistant Terry Morin, getting a win tonight at her old stomping grounds. They look to Big Ten conference play, which will be a doozy again this year. For our entire crew at Hinkle Fieldhouse tonight and Sydney Buck, I'm Matt Schumacher saying so long from Hinkle Fieldhouse, where Butler falls 64-53.
As the Dogs host High Point at 2 p.m.